Long ago, 5 men set out from their own paths to achieve their own destinies. Now they are brothers, united under one cause. Alone they are strong, together they are unbreakable. They are bonded by metal.
Hey guys, welcome back to Bonded by Metal. I am your host, Pope Mettalicus. I am joined by my fantastic co-host, Disciple of Rock, and we are here to spread the good word of the new wave of traditional heavy metal.
Hell yeah.
This is a genre that I never saw coming until it was already well underway, and I could not be happier that it's coming back because this is the golden age of heavy metal coming back with modern production. And, as someone who I've introduced a lot of these bands to, Disciple, would you like to give your opinion on the genre?
Yeah, it's kind of a fun genre to be, becoming a new metalhead because there's such a wealth of stuff out there to listen to. So there's new bands that I'll be able to see as I get old. Obviously, there's old bands that I can always revert back to, but this new wave is a lot of fun because you have bands that are established that they can come here and tour, which they don't, but they should.
Absolutely should.
But it's nice because I'll have something to pass down to my kids, right? That, hey, these are the guys I was loving, when I was getting into genre. So yeah, I think metal's is the best it's ever been at right now. Like, I think people would say the 80s is the golden age, but I disagree. I think it's the platinum age. It'll never be that good again. We're in the golden age.
You know what? You might be right about that. Like, they could never surpass what the 80s metal bands did because that's just classic. Yeah. But this is a brand new generation of metalheads playing 80s heavy metal.
But with a twist, because what I love those is they're not clinging on to, hey, remember Thing in the 80s? They're, hey, remember when music was actually good?
Yeah, like they're putting their own they're putting their own twist on 80s heavy metal.
And they're making it good, and with all the different genres that we have of metal since you could whoever started metal, Black Sabbath, Judas Priest, Motorhead, that's a whole other discussion. But what they were sounding like, right? And everything that came out after that, these traditional heavy metal bands are kind of cherry picking from that and blending it all in to make their own unique genre, right? It's a mixture of heavy metal, glam metal, and speed metal, and it's just
they're kind of like a la carte picking the best aspects of the NWO BHM bands, glam metal, and 80s thrash.
Yeah, and it's made for some really, really good listening. So, I mean, like, I guess if we want to jump in, like, let's go to one of our first bands, and I don't think we have a particular order in mind, but I think we should start off with the first one, Air Raid.
Air Raid, they only have a couple of albums, but god damn are they good.
Yeah, if you like, I guess a good way to describe them, they've got some Dokken-esque, Judas Priest-esque, and some Yngwie Malmsteen-esque to them.
And that should be something that we mention about a lot of the bands that we're going to talk about. Most of them are from Sweden or Norway.
Yeah.
With a couple from Finland and one from Canada.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed is obviously they're copying Priest because I think everyone does, but I pick up a lot of Yngwie, like a lot of Yngwie.
A lot of the neoclassical work with the guitar, right, which is Yngwie's hallmark.
And I even pick up a lot of Racer X. Obviously, you pick up a lot on.
Well, I mean, most old school speed metal, you're gonna have some Racer X influence.
Yeah, for sure.
Which is a band that we will get to on this channel, and I don't think we talk about enough.
No, yeah, that's for sure. But stick with Air Raid. Who do you think? What do you think is their best songs?
Best song, Demon's Eye is right at me, off of their EP.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Aiming High.
Aiming High is fucking great. I love it. The other one, like especially being a '90s kid or a kid that grew up in the '90s and had that old. We were talking about it before the show. My first console was a Sega Genesis.
Yeah.
Entering the Zone Zero.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one.
That just has like '80s or like early '90s like Sonic the Hedgehog vibes to me.
Yeah.
And I fucking love it because that's the stuff I grew up with.
So, sticking in this new wave of traditional heavy metal, who do you put? Who's another pick that you would shout out?
I would absolutely. This is probably the band that got me more into the genre than anybody else. Is Ambush.
Ooh, yeah. I don't know if I've ever heard an Ambush song that I don't like.
Yeah, pretty much. They're kind of like Sabaton, where like it's good to excellent. Like there is no bad song to start on. Although I would recommend my personal favorite, Heavy Metal High.
Yeah, I recommend. I gotta be honest. I think my favorite is I'm blanking on the name here real quick. Uh, uh, I'm getting them confused. I always get them in one of the other bands that we'll mention up in a minute confused. But I like Natural Born Killers.
Natural Born Killers is excellent. I mean, then again, like we said, everything this band does is extremely high quality.
Yeah, and they just released an album last year. Definitely one of the better albums of 2020.
Yeah, Heavy Metal Brethren is up there in my fucking playlist. And maybe this weekend we'll do some Bonded by Metal Radio, or maybe I'll do a Midnight Mass and include that as one of our songs.
Absolutely, that's something that we got to do. Hopefully, one of these upcoming weekends we are gonna do a whole special Bonded by Metal Radio. Check that out on Rumble exclusively, if you'd be so kind, as where we are gonna play some live music. We do requests, we do thematic. We're gonna do thematic shows.
Picture Nights with Alice Cooper, but with younger guys.
Exactly. Pope, who do you want to bring up next?
Well, I mean, we're on a Swedish kick, so why not go with Enforcer?
Oof. Yeah, out of the new guys, I think they might be number one.
They're not my personal number one, but damn, are they good.
Oh, I can't even begin to tell you what song I like best from them. Because when I first got into them, I think it was just a few months into being a metalhead, too. I really loved the song "Running in Midness."
That's a good one. I would recommend "At the End of the Rainbow."
That obviously the title track, their title track or their lead track, and excuse me. See, I'm getting them confused with Ambush. I always get these guys confused.
Ambush and Enforcer are very, very similar.
Yeah, unfortunately, but let me see here. Obviously, Undying Evil is great.
Undying Evil's fucking glorious.
Midnight Vice is great. So like, yeah, dude.
Katana.
Oh, yeah. There's
so many good songs that Enforcer does. Like, there's a reason I own one of their T-shirts.
Yeah, and dude, and even their album covers are glorious.
Yep. Unfortunately, their album covers are also one of the reasons I can't wear most of those shirts at work.
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, you know exactly why.
Yeah. But yeah, dude, they are like if I want to think of an album example From Beyond, such a good killer cover.
Yeah, it's a really good one.
Yeah.
And again, they're one of these bands that hasn't done anything outright bad.
Which is kind of a kind of a trend with some of these bands that you were seeing coming out now.
They're just going back to, like I said, the golden age of heavy metal,
And they're not
and taking the best parts of all of it and turning it into an entirely new genre.
and we're skipping out really cheesy ballads.
Yeah, we don't have to have cheesy power ballads on the albums anymore, and that's fantastic.
And a lot of that's because you don't have women in metal, so there's no chance you're getting laid. So
Well, I mean,
that was the trade-off, right, for ballads, is that was the way you'd get laid, you know?
that's fair.
They suck, but hey, you know, you're gonna be getting sucked, so hey, you know, not a bad deal.
It's like, they suck, but hey, you're getting sucked too. So do you care?
Exactly. See, you got to play the long game. Now, I think coming in at number 2, who do we want to do at number 2? Do we want to? We got 2 more we want to get into.
I think Skullfist is number 2.
Yeah. Oof. Very little to go off of with them, but golly, what they do have is
Fantastic.
fantastic. The vocals. Oh my goodness. I wish.
Yeah, their vocalist is an absolute machine.
Just everything you love about high shrieking vocals. Just God, are they good?
It's like, if you don't believe us, just go listen to the song "Bad for Good," and if you don't like it, you don't like heavy metal.
Yeah, I think it's that simple. And their album covers are gorgeous.
Brilliant.
Absolutely gorgeous. But yeah, they are, like, even their first album, Head of the Pack, very good album.
Solid freshman release.
And
They only got better from there.
Yeah, and you know, you normally have the sophomore slump, but that's probably their best album. Chasing
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Is probably their best album. And unfortunately, they've been kind of quiet for the last few years, which a lot of these bands were noticing. That's the one problem, is that these bands kind of go incognito for a little while.
And honestly, to be fair, COVID killed a lot of them because they couldn't play live for like a year and a half.
Yeah, and you know, and this is going to be a gripe I'm going to have to pick with some of the bigger bands. I'm looking at you, Sabaton, and I'm looking at you, Ghost, and I'm looking at you, Powerwolf. You don't bring these guys with you when you come to the States.
And I don't know how much of that is them and how much of that is the label.
Nah, but here's my problem with it. Is all these bands, like, you know, I'll even blame Priest. I'll throw them under the bus a little bit. But they're also happy to have the big headliner with them. But they don't bring the little guy with them.
Yeah, like the last time I saw Priest live was in 2022, and they were the headliner with Queensryche opening.
Yeah, and I think, you know, I think one of the more European-based bands that I can think off the top of my head, and we could have brought them up for this video. We could have, but they should get their own video, or definitely another video for them, is Ghost Torn with Lucifer.
Yeah, Lucifer's another one of, like, we're going to have to get to them when we do doom metal.
Yeah, and Ghost toured with them, right? And there's some of these doomy metal bands, even some of these heavier bands like Ambush, that have more of a darker, you know, theme to them. Would work.
Well, I mean, one honorable mention I would bring up, even though they only have the one album from 2 years ago, is Bloodstar.
You have to bring them up every time, don't you? You just have to.
I absolutely do, because I fucking love them and I want them to do more stuff.
Dude, me and you both. That's a good honorable mention, but I think we have to pick the number one. And
the number one,
because this album is so good. Riot City.
And both of their albums are so good, and they only have 2, unfortunately. Is Riot City out of Canada?
How? And Canada.
And I'm sure we'll add this post. If we put the album cover up, these guys could not be trying to be Judas Priest with Screaming for Vengeance any harder if they tried.
Yeah. No. Oh. Yeah.
But it's a
I mean,
fantastic album. Everything on this album fucking rips.
right. Yeah, I was listening to it in prep for today's video, and knowing a few songs of theirs, but kind of really making sure I knew what I was coming in to talk about. Hadn't listened to the full, like, maybe I listened to the full in passing, but more of just like a song here or there. And I'm waiting for the bad song. I'm waiting for a bad song. Waiting for a
And
bad
they
song.
haven't
Just
had one.
does not hit. Because I always get nervous, Pope, when I'm listening to an album and I like everything. I get into that. Am I just being a consumer and liking everything, or is this just that it's being
And you know
good?
what? Sometimes albums are just that good.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. Right.
we're both Priest fans. They have 4 all killer, no filler albums.
Yeah, yeah, and then they do have the duds, but
Well, I
can't.
mean, we don't we gloss over those.
Yeah, yeah, but
But absolutely, if you are considering getting into the genre or haven't heard of it, pick up Burn the Night. You will not regret it.
yeah, and there are so many other bands that we could have brought up here tonight. I think these ones are the top ones because these guys have been doing it a lot longer. But guys, if you're on Spotify or like I don't know what YouTube Music does or Apple Music does, but I know for Spotify that's how I listen to most of my stuff. If you go down to fans also liked, you will get some great, great, great suggestions. And some of these bands may have to come up at a later point in our discussions, but
Oh, and they
dude,
absolutely will.
and like I said, so many we left out, and there's some that I haven't listened to yet that we're probably gonna have to talk about one day. So, this is just a starter for some of y'all, right? Just to let you know, hey, it's alive and it's going strong, maybe stronger than ever. You could argue
I
because
would say that metal is in a stronger position now than they've been since the 1980s.
yeah, and the thing is there's no visible crash on the horizon right now.
No, I
Or
mean
itself.
it's all systems go.
And I think a lot of the bands are content with where they're at. They know that there's no arena tour for them to chase, right? Unless you're extremely lucky, but that's not in your cards. The best you're gonna get is theaters, like I mentioned in my Testament review, the Palladium, right? That may be the
Yeah,
best you're gonna
and that's
get.
a venue we've both been to now.
Yeah, and that's gonna be kind of, I think that's gonna be the best that you're gonna get. But listen, that's fine because that's where the diehards are gonna be, not the posers.
And let's face it, people don't play heavy metal because it makes them money.
No.
People play heavy metal because they fucking love it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Exactly.
that's what the fans key into. That's what makes your live show amazing. Is that energy that you just bring to that stage.
Yeah.
And
But
these guys bring it every fucking time.
yeah, and I hope hopefully soon some of these bands will be able to come here in the States where I can go see them and not play in the middle of New York City or Boston, by the way, so I can actually make an easy effort to get out to see them.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with Boston.
Didn't say there was,
Well, I
but I
mean,
mean
there's
it
a lot of
was
things wrong with Boston, but the metal scene's not one of them.
no, no. But I think Pope, I think that could be a wrap for here. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, this has just been kind of a primer on the new wave of traditional heavy metal, and just to kind of twig you guys to the fact that they're out there,
Yeah, they are.
and a lot of them are criminally underappreciated.
Yeah, for sure. But till we rear ourselves in the next one, live hard and stay free.